While there's no shortage of Halloween movies out there for kids, I don't necessarily enjoy stories about friendly ghosts or magic pumpkins or well-chaperoned children's parties. If anything, I want to leave that group of kids completely unsupervised so I can further understand human nature. Like Lord of the Flies, but exacerbated by fun-sized candy bars and those weird little baby teeth that they have. And that's why I'm so pleased to be reviewing today's bona fide horror movie, Paranormal Highway, which borrows the found footage style of Paranormal Activity, the Key West fashion style of your least open-minded aunt and uncle, and a storytelling style that will leave you wondering if quality even matters in the age of the streaming service, or if humanity has just reached a point where all we need are moving shapes and stimulating sounds to look at until our brains eventually die and our hearts stop for one reason or another. Ooh, I swear I meant that to sound like in a spooky Halloween way. Here, trick or treat! Woo! Oh, and I almost forgot. Razor blades. It's time to use your bare hands to dig into my delicious bowl of treats for another Tubi horror movie installment of Clip Breakdown. Ow. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another spooky installment of Clip Breakdown. You can tell cause there's a pumpkin. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other content found here on the web, and we look through it like our candy stash and say, ew, that one's raisins, or that's a Minnie's Airhead Extreme, or whatever. But when we look at Tubi horror movies, more often than not, it's a bewildering low level of quality, to the point where I'm like, who made this and why? Like, how did they know they would be able to sell this to Tubi and get some amount of streaming royalties? Maybe they're just like completely free student films and they strike it lucky by selling it, but we'll figure it out. You'll see. It's a mess. But before we get into it, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see real horror movie breakdowns like this on the channel. But most importantly, if you're new here, I'd love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on notifications if you always want to know when I've got a trick or a treat, or a trick or a treat, a trick or a treat, a trick or a treat. It was October 2021, you found out I don't have rhythm. I'm like, a treat, trick, a trick, a trick, a treat, a Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Oh, I have merch available and a Patreon. There's strange things happening in the world of the Key West, Florida, and we're about to find all about it through this found footage from the brave police investigators who are giving us all of the details.
Is it on?
Are you talking about the camera or my noisy 1996 dehumidifier that's running right next to it? I'm having a hard time understanding you because it sounds like we work inside of a jet engine right now. Right off the bat, find the source of that fan and turn it off. Oh my god, the noise. A lot of the movie is for some reason told through the point of view of these 2 detectives who are separate from the school bus full of kids that we'll meet later.
This red light here means it's on.
Noted on the red light. Now, what does your summer squash orange skin tone mean? I think it means that we're either mixing color temperatures or we need to get a blood panel done on each of you. Not to brag, but I know a lot about being jaundiced because I've had hepatitis. Ooh, maybe that will be a fun game. You can all guess which type I had, A, B, or C. And I'll send a t-shirt to one person who gets it right. Here's a hint, it went away on its own. Wow, I'm really teaching you all like Dr. House up in here, except it's more sort of like I'm embarrassing myself by exposing my medical history. Anyway, the orange skin is not jaundice. It's actually, like I said, the lights in the background are daylight balanced, which is like that pure white light, which is what I have here, as opposed to a tungsten balanced light, which is like that more yellowish incandescent bulb light. Here, that's daylight balanced light. It's like this bluish kind of tone that sunlight has. And then this, that's tungsten balanced. So you can see it looks more yellow on my face because it doesn't match with the rest of the light. If all of the other lights were orange, then my camera could white balance and figure out what tone to make white look. But it seems like not a big deal, maybe to like the amateur filmmaker, but I promise you, if you make sure that all of the lights in the room you're shooting in are at least matching color temperatures, you're gonna save yourself from having a lot of muddy, gross, nasty looking shots. And then I won't have to sit here with a bowl full of candy and razor blades talking
I feel that this event must not be suppressed The public needs to know what happened, as it may happen again.
Mama, we don't know what you're talking about, okay? And even the camera seems more focused on that cup of pens on your desk than your face is. So that's a bad sign for whatever it is you think the public needs to know about. You're not hooking me right away, so this campaign, maybe get a PR agency. Like, I'm pretty sure that's just the actor's actual water bottle that she forgot to put under her chair. Details matter. Do you think a professional filmmaker would just have like whatever water bottle randomly on the desk? At the very least, a clear glass of water is gonna look much more beautiful, especially when it's well lit. Also, there's this blank whiteboard on the wall behind them, which could be used to give us all these like subtextual clues as to what's going on. But most of all, it's like they're committing the cardinal sin, which is being boring right off the bat. There's not one drop of suspense or urgency or intrigue in any of what they're saying. They're like, feel like we really gotta let people know about this, as though the fluoride levels in the drinking water are not quite as high as were previously reported. Make me feel scared. If you can't make me feel scared, then I need you to get down to the 9th ring of hell and suck some devil and then he'll tell you what to do. Okay, next we flash to our group of characters. Something's happening. That is how my entire family reacts when I'm driving and hit the curb just a little tiny bit. It's like, calm down. I didn't even like that hubcap anyway. I don't know why we get all out of order here, but we briefly show members of the debate team and this kind of rough around the edges trucker get out and look at the front of the bus. The movie is doing like subtitles where it's like day 1, day 3. So it's basically jumping around a 3-day period. Here we are on day 4. So like after all of the events of the movie that we're about to see. I'm sorry it's as confusing, but I mean, I didn't f***ing write it.
In case you haven't been following the story, the Key West debate team bus has been found. I repeat, the bus has been found. No word yet on the 11 students, bus driver, or documentary cameraman.
So far, all that's been recovered are 9 tattered, bloodied pieces of yellow clothing, which police are hoping will lead to where these students are safely camping out. This is Karen Carson coming to you from Central Florida with a mismatched accent. I'm glad for Midwestern Molly over here for making the jump over to Florida to kickstart her acting career. She said, I hear they're making a movie about Aileen Wuornos, so I'm living in the woods right now to get in character. All right, honey, do you. Are you guys ready to meet some police?
The surrounding area is considered a crime scene, and here with me is Sergeant James Monahan of the Leon County Sheriff's Department. Officer Monahan, what can you tell us?
There were 6 video cameras installed on the bus, still functioning. We understand they were filming some sort of documentary.
Thank you, Sergeant Monahan. Officer James Monahan of the Leon County Sheriff's Department.
Not everybody knows this, but one of the most important parts of being a journalist is overstating people's names and titles, like they do with the color selection of caftans on the Home Shopping channel.
Sergeant James Monahan, Officer Monahan, Sergeant Monahan, James Monahan of the Leon County Sheriff's Department.
I've had the sound of her saying that name stuck in my head for the last 24 hours now. And when I woke up this morning, I had somehow started filling out the legal paperwork to change my name to James Monahan. And it looks like I submitted my resume to become the sergeant of the Leon County Sheriff's Department. Luckily, the non-sleeping pill part of my brain took control to follow up with another email saying, police, defund, demilitarize. So all the kids are missing. There's a $25,000 reward. But let's go back to the very beginning where it all started. Ooh, rattly rollies. I'm sorry, but was it Florida's version of Agent Mulder or Scully who threw this missing teen evidence footage into iMovie and spliced it together with some Visit Key West stock footage and discount Jimmy Buffett music? Because that's weird. They're gonna end up getting an award at the end of the year because not only was that an unnecessary level of dedication to their job, but it was also cool of them to use Sergeant James Monahan's song in the official evidence tape. His wife gave him that studio session for his 50th birthday party, and now the whole jury will get to hear it. You never know what kind of exposure that could lead to. For example, I was sitting in jury duty when I got discovered live streaming the trial on Instagram because I believe democracy is doing whatever I feel is best for me as an individual. Okay, so aside from the movie already breaking the fourth wall of its found footage concept within the first 3 minutes, you also have scenes that seem to have meant to convey information at one point, but the audio was so bad, they just try to change it into a confusing montage.
It's our own Key West debate team. They're heading to the National Debate Championship in Birmingham. I understand there's a documentary in the works too. Good luck. And this one's for you.
Oh, look at Diamond. She's wearing a debate doggy shirt. That's right, disembodied voice, and it's just as ill-fitting as the human versions of the costume piece, with that trademark boiled piss shade of yellow that we'll be staring at for the next 90 minutes. I don't know why they had to involve a real live animal into what I can only assume was a chaotic, uncomfortable film set, but I'm even more confused as to why Coach Emily was allowed on camera wearing some type of athletic capri-length pant. I feel like the director was like, oh, you can wear whatever you want on the bottom, thinking she would go with the teacher-length skirt, but she said, let me get something that wicks moisture away from the skin, and also really features these persecuted New England witch shoes. We then start going into talking head interviews with all of the characters, and it's served up as though it's like raw, unedited footage, which is a great reminder as to why editing exists.
For the past 6 years, our teams have won the state championships, but never the nationals. This is going to be our year. Our program produces mental acuity, discipline, and character.
We just met, so I don't want to question your ability to produce mental acuity or character, but discipline? Sir, you can't even control that one single eyebrow hair that decided this is a 3D movie coming out of the screen at me like Doc Ock's robotic arm. This weirdo debate coach is exactly the kind of person that we have walking around now that they've cured whatever disease was keeping Charlie Bucket's grandparents in bed before he won the golden ticket. You can always tell when an actor has been the oldest cast member of several community theater productions because they always have one line that they say, just a little weird.
Our teams have won the state championships, but never the nationals.
Why are you talking like one of those animatronic presidents from that Disney ride about American history? Honest Abe, they would call me. Oh, but not my wife, Mary Todd, who caught me sucking off a farmhand in 1852. Halloween mischief. Oh, okay, so now we meet this little girl. No, I'm sorry, they're all college aged, even though I swear some of them are legit 12. We meet Shane the documentarian as well as this young blonde girl who he has like some sort of really familiar relationship with.
Put your camera down, Shane. I'm making my own documentary. This is Shane Walker, award-winning documentarian. And how many awards have you won?
Besides my Oscars and my Emmys?
And why am I interviewing you?
That's a good question.
When the actors had to re-record this dialogue because someone decided to shoot on a windy beach in the eye of a tropical storm, it seems like they chose different inflections for each one of their line deliveries, making this conversation even harder to understand. Also, if someone asks how many awards you've won, why would they mean besides your Oscars and your Emmys? No, stupid, that's a type of award. You should include it in the tally. You can tell from that tan vest that Shane is the kind of person who would get a black eye in a bar fight that he wasn't even involved in, but his stool was just a little too close and reaction time a little too slow. Also, let's not pretend like this movie isn't stealing ideas from Blair Witch there, where it had the opposing cameras, and the school bus thing is all Jeepers Creepers 2, a movie that I don't want to talk about too much since the director is a convicted child. So moving on from that, here's the bus that shows up for, this is hard to understand too.
DJ Brown Trucking Company, Bus Company.
You put cameras in this?
That's the one you contracted.
Coach Ron is like, uh-oh, that means I scheduled a yellow school bus for the annual S&M bondage road trip. Actually, it's fine. We'll just change the theme to golden showers, 100% chance of rain. Aside from the bus being painted black and white, the script and none of the characters ever make it specifically clear as to why this is such a terrible thing for them. Like, it would be funny if the side of the bus said state prison or something like this, then they could be like, you got a prison bus, and Shane could be like, it's the only one that had all the cameras pre-installed. But it seems like they're just trying to imply that it's a very old, decrepit bus, in which case they would need to make it appear much more dirtier and broken down with sound effects. But my idea about it being a prison bus is so much better. Like, what the Sometimes I'm like, why are people only thinking of movie ideas at like the first layer of consciousness? Step your up. How high do you think I can pour nerds into my mouth from? That's ASMR. I almost said S&M. That's my S&M bondage road trip. You wanna come along, baby? I'm gonna pour these nerds into my mouth. Speaking of sound effects, Why is the bus engine running right now? That's not a helpful level of realism from a sound design standpoint. I feel like when the filmmakers pitched this as a found footage movie, they meant they had just found out what footage is and were gonna try to make a movie. Why wouldn't the bus be turned off so it's not idling underneath this scene where they have no microphones on anyone? If you need it to sound like the bus is on, you add it in post in a controlled level. Like, you always want to record as clean as dialogue as possible. Coach Ron is on the phone trying to get a new bus, and I'm just like, we still don't know why.
No, I can't get a PO now. Shane, look, I don't need this filming now. No, what?
Just doing my job.
It would take yeah, I'm trying to do my job too, Shane.
Do you think your job might be a little easier if you held that phone in a more similar way to how people hold phones? These kids are like, we noticed it's really hard for you to put the phone to your ear when you borrow it from one of the black students. What the f is that about, Jiminy Ricketts? I hate the harsh sun. These people look like they're getting burned up. Like, you can use natural lighting in a found footage movie, I think, and have it be successful. But I feel like found footage this cheesy doesn't have an excuse to have sloppy cinematography. They could have easily hung a silk, like a white sheet basically, to soften all of that sunlight, and then used a bounce card to fill in the shadows, and everyone's gonna look so much more pretty on screen. And it's like, at least then I'm watching bullshit, but it's like well lit bullshit. Anyway, time to meet our students.
Connor Wagner, Alicia Carter, AC to her friends, Gail Stevens, Yeehaw,
Jesse,
Darla,
Holly,
Noreen, Doreen,
and Dime.
Yeehaw.
Again, the harsh high noon attendance taking is not doing Connor any favors with that horrible makeup job. But even worse is how this roll call is not even accomplishing the character introductions or lazy expositions that it was clearly intended to. They're like, oh, and some people are your husband and wife. How come getting on the bus requires Coach Emily to give herself vocal nodules, letting the whole boardwalk know that people's nicknames exist?
Alicia Carter, AC to her friends.
They said it's actually really hard to introduce a character in a natural way. Can't we just read the casting breakdowns that we posted on all those state school bulletin boards and Sonic drive-through parking spots?
Last but not least, our alternate, Carlos Montoya.
And Pepe.
Okay, so my first issue with the puppeteer Carlos is that he is even here right now. And my second issue is that puppets can't be murdered. Because now I know I won't get to see Pepe, the most annoying character, gruesomely tortured to death. Also, unless I have my screen brightness turned all the way up, everyone with dark hair looks completely bald. Because they couldn't figure out a way to separate the foreground from the background. Any more than they could figure out that the bus doesn't need to be actually idling right now still. Like, turn off the bus. You're trying to record audio. Also, somebody better tag Matt Bennett, who was the guest on my latest episode of my podcast, because this is a clear ripoff of his character Robbie Shapiro from Victorious. They needed to reframe this shot so that it's not like entirely in front of a black school bus, or use backlight, because we can't even see that puppet. Again, they're really trying to sell that this bus is creepy, and I'm just like, wait, is the bus haunted, or is it like the highway that they're going to that's haunted? Kind of ends up being neither.
Oh goodness, dude,
Sucks.
Well, home sweet home.
I'm sorry, does Coach Emily think we're going to be living on this bus? I mean, it does seem like your college tuition could have at least covered a chartered Greyhound with bucket seats, but based on what I hear from people who have moved out of Florida, you're lucky if the hospital bed that you're born in isn't just a ragged sheet of that brown plastic school bus upholstery laid down on an unswept floor. That's just what they tell me. I'm not saying that. I love Florida. That's where Darsney, Charsney, Arsney. So the bus driver is like a real character. He's sort of like a hard-ass type of militant guy, but whatever. There's so much riding on bus montage footage where everyone's like, now I'm reading a magazine, I'm sitting backwards in the seat. It's like, this is the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life. What I want to know is from Jo Beth here, where she got her frosted eyeshadow. Looks like Avon.
I'm Professor Emily
O'Neill.
Okay, we barely started and she had to think about what her last name was. Are we really too far into this take to go back to one? I feel like the director thought that since this is found footage, it would explain away every single production mistake, but it actually just makes this feel like an even more sad failure since it's one of the technically easiest horror genres to shoot. Like Baby Girl, the studio setup you're in right now is just a camera next to a Glade plug-in nightlight. The least you can do is know your character's name and start over if you mess up. Goodness knows.
Well, that they're going to go all the way. The motto that we have that the students came up with is focused, motivated, and prepared. So FMP. And they're all saying it on the bus. FMP.
Okay, I've been on the debate team for 3 years, and the whole time I thought we were chanting my my my. It's unifying because it's the one topic we never have to debate about. Also, shout out to this uncut silence as the actors struggled to remember their next line. That's me trying to think of an answer when someone comments, if you're such an expert, how many movies have you made? I'm like, oh, sorry, the answer is 0. I was just pushing some of the excess mucus out of my rectum. Does anyone have a microfiber cloth I can borrow? One of our characters gets a very troubling phone call that makes absolutely no difference to the movie.
Yeah, I'm sitting down. My grandma was rushed to the hospital. They don't know what's wrong. They said she'll be all right, but don't they always say that though?
Who, doctors and nurses? No, I doubt they always say that elderly people who are rushed into the ER are going to be all right, because they probably mostly die. In fact, if you don't have any black leggings at home, I would probably jump on Amazon and order those before we lose cell service so that you have them by the time we get back for your grandma's wake. Also, does anyone feel like we'll get to this debate tournament faster if the bus is actually moving? I'm so annoyed that this never comes up again with Alicia. Oh, I hate it. I hate it, but I feel good also because there used to be no one I could tell why I hate it, but now I'm telling you.
I got my GI Bill of Rights after 2 tours in Iraq. I learned so much from my soldiers, so much. So this champ knows how to kick major debating butt.
I would never want to discredit your service to our country, and I probably just missed it because of my civilian thinking, but what is the connection between you watching soldiers kill people and having structured arguments about the melting ice caps? Like, did the Iraqi war involve a debate tournament against the Taliban at one point? Because then she should be confident. That would be tough. Also, I don't know if it's something that's wrong with me, but all of these kids look like they're still in high school, not like they served 2 tours in Iraq. Although I recognize people join the military very young, which is crazy. Like, we should have just the elderly join the military. People with like really short life expectancy. Actually, I don't believe that. Ignore that I said that. Do you guys want a montage of bus fun?
Would take it too far. It's all over to climb.
That's never been a thing you do to someone who's sleeping, even if it's the girl you secretly have a crush on. If you really like her, you'll let her autonomic nervous system control the temperature of her body, not your cum-coated copy of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. Again, although I completely disavow the work of the director, I loved Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 growing up. They really inspired me as movies, and that's why I can't help but notice this is a very clear copy of Jeepers Creepers 2 with like the group of students feeling claustrophobic trapped on a school bus. Where I think the movie was more successful was selling that it was hot. Like they just tried to do there. These kids look all very dry and air conditioned, like they shot this in the winter. Also, you got a feeling for the, you know, politics between the students a little bit more. So I wish I had that to bring this up to the level of that movie, which I used to appreciate, but no longer do. Oh, it shows this one girl have like a blood glucose monitor. At some point, the bus breaks down. They literally don't show us that. Like it just fades into them waiting for the bus to be fixed. So I guess that's part of it. Like the bus is always breaking down because it's that old, but again, couldn't they put some sputtering truck sound effects in or rub some chalk all over this to make it look dirty and old? Or just have someone be like, this bus looks like it's from 72. And the bus driver could be like, it is. I drove it through Vietnam. And then it's like, okay, I get it.
I really don't like the limelight, except in debate. Then I actually morph into Superman. like Clark Kent.
Girl, we know who Superman is. We don't need you to give us his government name. All of these interviews gave the screenwriter like 30 seconds of dedicated screen time to make us care about each of these characters, but instead the time is seemingly used to carefully illuminate every stray hair and flyaway on this Key West cast of humidity-sensitive hairstyles. You can see that the backlight, which is like, if I were to take this light and angle it up out of the frame, but so that it just kisses the back of my head and provides that rim. Sometimes it's called a hair light or a rim light because you're just illuminating the back of the hair or giving a rim to separate from the background. This is something that I kind of ruined a lot of my shots with in film school, was having a hair light or a backlight that was way too high and way too hot. Look, you can see the top of her head is overexposed and we don't need her entire center part to be glowing. Obviously we see lots of flyaways there, so yeah, the hair light placement is making this look messy. Also, like, why is the top of her head cut off? Come on. Doesn't matter. The whole team finally arrives at their lunch stop, but let's check in with those detectives first.
The kind of damage this bus sustained, along with the slime residue deposited, amongst other things, are, to say the least, very difficult to evaluate.
What the f*** did you just say that for? The count of damage sustained to this bus, along with the slime residue deposited, are, to say the least, very difficult to evaluate. Baby, that wasn't you saying the least. You could have shut the f*** up and I would have the same amount of information. Don't include pointless dialogue in your script just because you think it sounds cool, because I promise you it doesn't. Your reason for having a character say something should not be because you can't decide between them saying, among other things, or to say the least. Also, if you even just have like a computer monitor on your desk that you could turn on, it would really help demystify the dark side of your face. Mysterious as the dark side of your face! So the detectives get some phone call while the kids are having lunch at Ye Old Sandwich Shop. It looks like garbage in here. I'm snobby, I get it.
Carlos! What?
Expelled, arrested, decapitated. These people are supposed to be in college, right? Carlos, you keep your hands to yourself. And I guess to that unusual puppet that you use in place of a fedora in terms of telling us what kind of person you are. In fact, let's meet Carlos Montoya a little bit more.
I'm the alternate, which means I don't debate often unless someone breaks a leg and if I don't debate, I don't get awards.
Wait, unless someone breaks a leg or what?
Unless someone breaks a leg and if I don't debate.
I think maybe the puppet had a line there. Carlos, you have to talk for the puppet. This isn't a Bradley Cooper, Rocky Raccoon situation. Shout out to all the Marvel fans out there. Those movies are so brown and fiery, which makes sense because I think those are going to be California's 2 main exports for the next decade. I would say that in terms of making these characters likable, Carlos was the biggest challenge.
Pepe, you find something funny? Because I could tell Diamond that, you know, you're like Puppy Chow, Chiquita Bananas. It's not so funny anymore, is it?
I don't think it ever even was. But my Google search of Puppy Chow Chiquita Bananas only yielded some delicious bread recipes. So I feel like I'm craving a lot more clarity about the dynamic between these two characters. Like, does Carlos feed his puppet bananas? It doesn't stop with this kid.
But don't worry about it though, because my day will come.
I can't give that moment any more context outside of what we just witnessed here together. Carlos never sings again, and I would warn you if he did. Was he just possessed by the ghost of some drama major who died of heartbreak when they didn't get cast in Pippin? Because we're like 17 minutes into this movie, and I feel like there's still more weird stuff that we have to see before anything paranormal happens on the paranormal highway. I think a more accurate title would just be Abnormal Bus Trip. Next, let's meet Gail Stevens.
I love rodeo, even more than debate. It's a close second though, so don't worry. I hold the county record for barrel racing.
This movie holds the record for most flubbed lines that were included in the final cut anyway. My favorite part was when she told me not to worry about debate being her second favorite activity.
It's a close second though, so don't worry.
Do I look worried, Gail Stevens? I don't even fucking know you. The only thing causing me stress in my life right now is that wrinkly school photo backdrop I've been staring at for the last whole movie. Now, it's been a while since I've gone into a blind rage screaming about why at least one person on every production needs to have a garment steamer, but I am not going to lose it like that right now. Mainly because my adrenal glands can only support one episode of blind rage per day, and I used that up super early this morning on everybody in the Starbucks because my iced coffee cup had these weird little droplets on the outside, which for all I know are microchips that have been programmed to data mine my digital hole. So that's why I'm calmly reminding you, if you're ever going to set, throw a garment steamer in your car. Even if someone else in your department said they were going to, you will be the hero with a backup because they will forget or it will break, or just no one else will even care because some people don't realize how subconsciously distracting and attention grabbing those wrinkly, uneven textures are to the human eye. That's why when I walk down the street, people can't help but stop and stare at my crepe paper. I need a city permit to wear hot pants because they have to close the streets so that everyone can get a good look at my ancient cobblestone caboose. Have you ever a topographical map of the White Mountains for the holiday season? Put that on your wish list, baby. Trick or treat, yo! Trick or treat! Remember, there's a girl with blood sugar disease.
Hey! Remember your blood sugar.
Did you just tell this grown woman with diabetes to remember her blood sugar? When she just had the Dexter's lab of glucose monitoring set up on the bus. What we need to discuss is why you ordered or otherwise procured what seems to be a mound of Ready Whip on a plate, which happens to be the same thing they tried to pass off as my free birthday dessert when I turned 8 at the Hard Rock Cafe in Orlando, Florida, which I have obviously never forgiven them for. Not to sound ungrateful, but if a restaurant staff sings their little birthday song to you in front of everybody and then serves you a ramekin with a candle in it, you sort of expect there to be food at the bottom. My parents were like, he's about to start scraping into that plastic with the spoon and eating shavings if we don't get him a brownie sundae out here quick. We don't know why he's turning out this way. At least now I know how to eat properly. I hate this restaurant, but while they're at the restaurant, scary, spooky things happen, such as some pillows move. It seems like they want to do this thing where, like, you know, in Paranormal Activity when all of the cabinet doors open at once and it's like a very cool practical effect. They tried to do something dramatic like that, but it's literally just like the camera changing angles a little bit, like shifting. It's nothing. And when they all get back on the bus, they immediately blame Carlos for some reason.
All this stuff on the bus, the door's wide open. Damn, Carlos!
Seriously, Carlos?
I didn't do nothing. Wait,
That's not cool.
I didn't do nothing.
Oh God, just give him a
You
break.
didn't do anything.
Carlos, we're not going to take this for the next 2 days while we're going up and back from Alabama.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, listen everybody, just because Carlos brought a puppet with him on this trip, it doesn't mean he's responsible for every senseless, annoying thing that we're subjected to. The bus is also outfitted with several cameras and a documentarian who could easily check what happened, but let's play it safe and review that footage after we abandon this puppet kid at the next truck stop. I really want to trust the group vibe on this. Never once did they think to check the cameras.
Don't touch my hair! It's just a dream! It's okay, calm down! No, I know the difference! It wasn't a dream!
You think Julie can't tell when her hair is being haunted? She has the extrasensory perception to know when her Pantene has a poltergeist in its Pro V, or when she's being cursed by the final easy payment for that air curler she ordered off of an infomercial. I think they were trying to connect this to Carlos playing with the hair at the restaurant. Like, they could have easily been like, oh, it's Carlos playing with the hair again. They don't, though. This would have been a better time for them to start blaming Carlos if they were like, you know what? In fact, Carlos, you're probably the one who came on this bus while we were eating our goddamn chicken baskets. Our chicken baskets, and you came on the bus and kicked my backpack. Like, this could be a good point for the team to start turning against each other, for us to start seeing the cracks in the social structure as things become a little more stressful. Also, this girl is like an exact copy of a character from Jeepers Creepers 2, this girl who has a scary dream. Although, I'm much more excited to see this one die.
And now, wow, we're the ones making the Ivy League shake. Go Raptors! Woo!
So as we comb through these evidence tapes, is the deal that we have to rescue like all of the missing students? Because even if they're all alive by then, I've already got a running list of people who are not driving with me to the police station. I need a really zen, quiet driving environment to make sure I avoid oncoming trains and stuff. So the idea of having Little Miss Screams a Lot Jorgensen over here having a panic attack in my passenger seat is not exactly calling out for me to join the search party. It's fine, ghosts ate them. Also, the auto exposure on this interview, this is why you don't want to deal with auto settings, at least not auto exposure. When you speed up her interview, you see it get progressively darker and lighter because the camera is sensing all of the light in the frame and trying to adjust the exposure for the average. So it causes it to shift lighter and darker as she moves around, which is annoying. This time the bus breaks down, but there's a weird substance on the front.
No, don't touch it.
Come on, let's get back on the bus.
Oh my God. You'll be okay. Oh. What happened? What happened? Just stop the bleeding, will you? All right, I will.
Just hold still while I apply what we call a Band-Aid and gentle pressure. Hey, look at me, Sarge. You're gonna make it home to see that baby of yours, okay? We're gonna get through this. So far, we know that this white residue that looks exactly like Cetaphil face wash is a sign of some type of invisible creature that bites your skin and makes a terrifying noise like I'm a self-taught expert at wilderness calls because when I was unemployed, I would walk around the Bronx Zoo and practice different animal noises. You just kind of keep trying things until something turns and looks at you. Now I can successfully get the attention of most captive monkeys and like 1 out of 50 captive penguins. Also any sea lion, if I have a dead fish to feed them. I'm so Eliza Thornberry up in this. You can't even touch these pigtails. Animal tourism is a no-go for me, Joe. Do you guys want to meet Connor Wagner? You know him from having the wrong makeup on this whole time.
I am the track star of the school and the debate star. At Key West, we have 3 sports. We have track, and track. So naturally, I chose debate and track.
Okay, well, you need to choose a new undertone under different lighting conditions because someone shade matched you with an orange creamsicle flavored cup of yogurt. Also, what kind of real human person would describe themselves as, I'm the debate star and the track star of the school? Like, you don't live in an episode of Riverdale. You would just be like, I'm on both teams. What's the star mean? Oh, is that enough? You're the official star? Shut the f up. Lots of montages of riding on the bus, like far more than you would think. And then they stop for another meal where nothing scary happens.
The Heritage Park Inn is 45 minutes away. R&R, Papa John's Pizza. Yeah.
Ooh, I hope you're ready for some uncomfortable Papa John's product placement that still feels more fresh and natural than the actual ingredients that make Papa John's look like round, greasy garbage. And I'm just talking about the pizza, not the racist founder's doughy, shiny face. This is the man who said he is actively trying to stop using the N-word as of the year 2021. So that's a greasy slice of the pizza. I'm allowed to use that accent. I'm Italian. My last name is basically DiGiorno. It's fine. They get to the hotel. Oh, this movie is so tedious.
He's a hotel cat. We found him as a stray and then he just stayed. Took care of him from here on in.
Thanks so much for that fun backstory on the cat, Beth, who actually works here at the hotel. Sorry we sprung those lines on you. Hey, by the way, since this cat digs around in a sandbox of its own feces every few hours, do you mind if we keep it away from the Keurig machine and coffee stirrers? Thanks so much, because I will weaponize a Yelp review against you, okay? They have some real fun at this hotel.
I'm going to the bathroom. I call the toilet.
Not someone shouting, I call the toilet. Like, baby, there was always a chance that someone was gonna see this movie. Although I guess in 2017, they might not yet have been able to foresee the rise of the free streaming service Tubi, so they wouldn't know that this would get distributed to millions. That just goes to show, actors should never sign contracts or image release waivers. If you wanna be an actor and someone asks you to sign any sort of contract, you better stab that pen through their hand and scream in their face. Disclaimer, that is not official legal advice, but it is how I earned the leading role in A Complicated Lawsuit, which is the cinematic title that I'm giving to my complicated lawsuit. Who's ready for Papa John, the Trump supporting asshole's product placement?
Right.
I don't quite know why this real-time distribution of pizza slices is triggering so much anxiety in me. I think it's because all the pizzas are being supported one-handed, and the Papa John's delivery stormtrooper is still there, sticking around to report back. It's his job to let the Papa know when everyone has oily cheese residue on their chin. That's when the check can clear.
Okay, all together, you guys. Come on, get in here. 1, 2, 3. Pizza! Pizza!
I can't get over the fact that these 3 large pizzas were the most recognizable names in the entire cast. And it doesn't help that all of these characters are actively treating the pizza like it's part of a celebrity meet and greet. They need to make this pool scene a lot better. I think, first of all, it's so dismally dark, like they couldn't have shot this during the morning when it's bright out. Oh, but they're gonna all dance now, and we have something to say about everyone's dance moves.
Like nobody's home.
Okay, no move is ever gonna look more cool when you have a damp towel draped over your shoulders like the shawl of a ghostly drowning victim. I feel like you just pulled out whatever choreography you could remember from when you were in the ensemble of Dreamgirls last fall. You know it's a great move when all of the over 60-year-olds immediately know how to jump in, and it looks like that.
But I know just what to do. Whenever it gets me feeling blue, I feel the groove.
Ew, that one felt like he was gonna get close enough to touch me. Not after those creepy dice rolls, Mr. Vanity Muscles. So you have abs and pecs. Big deal if you're a 20-something straight girl. Mama, as a queer mess who's lived in several big cities, the only muscle I care about on a man is a strong pelvic floor. Cause if his is not capable of shooting a hole straight through my lower spine with a clean exit wound like a sniper, then I'm moving on down to the next plumber listed in the phone book. That's just how it is. If you wanna get with me, you gotta do some Kegels. I think it's the candy. Oh, I think it's the eating of candy that's causing me to have this problem of hitting my head and talking this way. Okay, I'm not even gonna touch this one because I know for a fact she has got more rhythm than I probably do when I do my hip hop fit classes on the Mike Peel YouTube channel. Sometimes when I'm learning those routines, I'll catch my reflection in the TV screen and audibly gasp because it looks like I'm doing the skeleton dance from Silly Symphony. It's a lot of this. I don't go. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right, let's wrap up this dance off. Jesus Christ. Is anyone else tasting like a lot of stomach bile right now? I feel like all these actors are like, I wish we shot the dance off before we each ate 3 slices of Papa John's pizza on camera, because that product placement is about to get an encore all over this pool deck. I'll say it again, making a found footage horror movie is not an excuse for lazy natural lighting. It's basically after sunset at this point, and poor Gail looks so underexposed that she might as well be Peter Pan's shadow. Sorry to the entire cast of this movie, but if you're not the chalkiest old white man in a Hawaiian shirt, the camera's not gonna be able to pick up any detail on your face. I love bad movies like this because it feels a lot like film school, where the mistakes are a little more glaring and it's like a better example, right? Like you realize how much bringing in more light would have helped improve that shot. Also in this case, we need to always be moving the plot forward. Like there's absolutely no need for this dance off, and it's absolutely insulting to me that they would include it. Even this part, like I don't know what any of it is.
Just Emily and Ronald O'Neill are celebrating their 36th wedding anniversary. Now we all chipped in and got you this gift in deep, deep heartfelt, really gratitude.
We all chipped in and got you this gift in deep, deep heartfelt, really gratitude. Those 2 chaperones are like, run, get the home drug test out of the safe. It sounds like Blondie here had some of that reefer with her cheesy bread. The picture, the gift is a picture. And then that night we, like, again, it's all of this like trying so hard to make us care about the characters, but I certainly don't, and I never will.
I'm having our baby.
You're having our baby? Wow. That's awesome. Hey. Aw, that's
That's awesome.
Ooh, even the cluster of cells that will be her baby one day just cringed at his reaction. He said, "Oh, that's awesome. Aw, it's awesome." Are you sure you heard her correctly? Because you're acting like she just told you she won $300 on a scratch ticket and you can go see Hamilton now. Let's meet this pregnant young woman, Jaden.
A little bit about me. My name is Jaden Martin. My father, he was a diplomat to Brazil and South Africa. I speak Japanese the best.
Wow, sounds like you have some impressive language skills, Jaden. But tell me, do you rely on any verbal crutches that we should be aware of throughout this 1-minute monologue? It's alright, take your time thinking about it. I think we got all the info we need. If anyone needs to know how to say in Japanese, just ask Jaden. She speaks it the best. I think this is one of our final talking heads. Thank goodness, because the movie doesn't really start till the end.
My name is Devin Rogers. A little bit of background on myself.
I know it's not technically your fault, Devin, but you have brought me to the breaking point of people starting these interviews by saying a little bit about myself.
A little bit about me.
A little bit about me.
A little bit of background on myself.
That's what an interview is. Why can't I see the tops of any of your heads? This guy making the documentary has supposedly won Emmys and Oscars, but he can't even set up a professional looking corporate interview? That's how you know the Academy is rigged. By now they just give the award for best documentary to whoever looks the most like Michael Moore. That's why Shane has this Jungle Cruise cast member vest on.
So I'm 17 years old. I'm kind of the baby of the group, you know. Some people kind of like to kid with me. I'm like the child genius, as they call me sometimes.
Are they saying it sarcastically? Because I would believe it if you told me that you were the elected representative of almost any district in Florida. I love when actors who are clearly off of their parents' health insurance have to play teenagers, so they just try to mutter everything through like a naive smile. I guess I'm just like sort of the 17-year-old of the group who, I don't know, I guess I'm just a baby. I don't know, they maybe say that I'm a baby sometimes. Like, shut the I'm gonna climb in that throat and knock your teeth out from the back. That was violent. My butt is really sore recording this video. What is up with that? Oh. For what it's worth, the rest of the movie is basically cast members disappearing one by one, except for this singular scene of them actually practicing debate. I don't know why the filmmakers were like, let's have them be a debate team instead of something that's like, I don't know, visually like cinematic, something more visual, like, I don't know, a sports team or maybe chess or something like that, because then they could use chess as a, you know, metaphor for how they're defeating this monster or whatever, who knows. But the practicality of the debate part never once plays into this plot. But since the bus is broken down, they are practicing their debate.
Resolved, the U.S. government should enact regulation to preserve the climate and habitat of all polar bears.
We know that sea ice is thin. This forces these bears in coming in contact with humans. Food hunting, home protecting mammals. The only mammals with guns.
Okay, let's not go to the guns right now. Let's just stick with the facts with the polar bears.
She said, I asked you about bears. You made it into a guns right issue for people who live in like the Antarctic. This is Florida, okay? We need to not open a can of worms about firearms. So why don't you go sit by the tailpipe of the bus over here and take a nap? The noisy highway they're shooting this next to is the actual nightmare. Like, they could have moved this scene far into the field away from all of that noise since we don't see the bus in relation to them and had audio not be an issue. I don't get it. Also with all the bus breakdowns, like the bus breaketh down and he calls a guy to bring him the part, and just as the guy with the part gets there, the bus mysteriously starts working. I think that's supposed to be like a supernatural thing, but it's really just like a waste of time. Oh, and listen to the woman detective now. She got all her problems.
Kim is en route from the hospital. We found out her sister and family's motorhome was attacked. Slime deposits were found on the scene. Kim's sister, brother-in-law, and one child are currently missing.
Please tell me it wasn't the child who knows classical piano. I was counting on a free accompanist for my cabaret next weekend. Oh, it's the 3-year-old that they can't find? It's too bad.
Jack, what the hell's going on here?
Come here. It's gonna be okay.
He said, I am so sorry for your missing family. You must be so stressed. So let me go ahead and hug you in a way that presses my hard against you and then engage in some light strangling. Also, you know I prefer it when you wear a skirt to work, but I'll get over it for now because I know your piano niece is in a coma. I don't know why she she's not reacting appropriately to how missing her family is.
The highway patrol also found a destroyed home not far away from this, there's slime deposits all over it.
Yeah, there's definitely a pattern here.
There's obviously a pattern. We just need to find out what that pattern is.
Most definitely.
It kind of seems like you more need to get aligned on what the definition of a pattern is, because you just described one of slime showing up and people going missing. Do you two need to choke each other for a little bit longer to get synced up? The sergeant comes in and wants to take them off the case.
The FBI, of course. You know, we've been on top of this from the start, Sheriff, and we are making progress.
This has become so personal to me.
Her niece is in the hospital.
Calm down, detectives, please. Calm down.
Fine, I'll calm down, but first let me loudly clear my throat and pass it off as a primal expression of anger.
Calm down.
Also, I'm pretty sure talking about how personal the case has become to you is not the best argument to remain involved. I've seen enough crime procedurals to know that that's not gonna work, and also enough to make me the perfect casting choice to play a corpse on TV. Watch. Okay, but like imagine that my body is bloated with river water and internal gases rather than just sparkling water and internal gases. The kids on the bus are stranded still. I hate it all. They're still on day 2, mama. Ugh.
Make it this time on time.
Yeah, about 3 hours, Coach. I'm gonna take a shortcut down Highway 51.
Okay. They said, okay, Barbara, if you can just come stand over here under the most unflattering lighting angle to exist on this planet or any other, we can get started on your scene. Even the dog is looking around like, is there a spot we can have this conversation that doesn't exaggerate every line and crease on her body like cheap clip art? Then it catches up to that scene where they like hit something at the beginning. Everything's out of order, I hate it.
Hey guys, quiet, quiet, I heard something. Quiet.
Madison looks like me the first time I accidentally ended up at a concert with a mosh pit. You're just like, I'm looking for the VIP bathroom stalls. I paid extra for that wristband. When they get on the bus, the lady is missing, the old lady. Just so you're aware, that's how pretty much every character dies in this movie from here on out. Honestly, this whole movie's plot has been held together by zip ties and dry. It all starts to disintegrate from here on out.
Where's Coach Emily? What the hell? Where is she? That's right. Go back.
You don't see anything. In case you didn't know, these monsters are invisible, so that's gonna automatically take a lot of the visual impact out of it.
He's being dragged into the woods.
Thank you so much for telling us. That would have been too much information to handle visually. In a almost clever moment, we hear the radio communication from that woman detective's family in the other trailer being like, we're down the road, we're being attacked. So it gives us, you know, I think it successfully told us like, oh, this is happening all down the road. It's a widespread thing. However, we're still not seeing anything super new.
Let's raise our movie. Let's raise our movie.
Again, super convenient that I can take your word for it and don't have to see any of these scary moving trees. Like, what could that mean? Is it a blustery evening? The kids are panicking, the kids are panicking. Oh, we already have seen the ooze. We love to show this.
What the is that?
I mean, I think we're all thinking the same thing about what it looks like, but I'm not gonna be the first one to say it. You're the ones who have got invisible demons hosing down your BDSM bus with supernatural splooge. Oh, what do you know? I was the first one to say it. In literally the next sentence. Is self-control something that can be learned, or am I gonna be this way forever? This 17-year-old kid knows everything about minor injuries.
Pulse is pretty high. Are you doing all right? You okay?
I think so. Just grab my camera and there's something on the side of the bus.
Keep your breathing normal.
Sorry.
Keep breathing in and out.
Don't apologize to Doogie Howser. Since when is he in charge of everyone's breathing and minor bleeding? Like, yes, my pulse is high. We were just attacked by a creature. Since when does your ability to argue against Planned Parenthood make you a medical resident? At long last, we get a trusted face that returns.
Oh my God, Coach!
You can't kill Oral Redenbacher that easily. I think the coach basically dies on the bus. Like, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure they all watch him die because he never says another word and it's all stupid. Okay, at one point, they step outside and we have our true Blair Witch moment / our showdown with the creatures themselves. Ooh, right at the start of Act 3, we get our first horrifying glimpse at these creatures, which are completely invisible and made of thunder sound effects. That actress was probably rolling around in the dirt like, so what is the monster gonna look like once you add it in with CGI? And the director is like, TBD on that, but we do know that the first few buttons of your top need to pop open during the scuffle, okay? Action. So they run back onto the bus, and there's a lot of boredom of them just waiting to be rescued. And I'm like, a boring movie doesn't have the time to show us boring situations because you don't know how to do it. I think of like Stephen King movies like Cujo or The Doc from Creepshow 2, where the characters are trapped in one location for a long time, and that survivalist element can definitely be interesting because you're always on edge, like, oh, it's just out here in the elements, but then I have this added force that I have to look out for. This movie is so boring that it doesn't even come close to giving us that feeling.
What is that? What is Jack?
Jack is great stuff. Oozy.
So yeah, the slime is everywhere. I hate all of these kids. Oh, I can't remember her name. Gail. Gail starts to panic a lot. She's like, you could be causing this. No, you could be causing this. And it's like, I think it's pretty clear no one's causing this. Wow, Gail, I can't believe that empty backpack and your sheer love of rodeo didn't save you from being devoured. This is what I'm talking about. None of the character stuff that was set up in their talking heads ever comes back. Like, what if in the interview, Gail had been like, my specialty is lasso, so I can hook pretty much any bull on the block. And then, you know, she's like, we gotta see what these are. So she goes and we see that it like lassos something invisible. And they're like, oh my God, it's huge. And then it yanks her out of the bus and we see her get mangled in some way. That wouldn't be so much harder to shoot, and it would add scale to these creatures. It would let us get a feel, like we learn a little bit more about the threat as the people do, and it makes Gail's character traits not completely pointless. So they block the doors with all of the backpacks. Somehow, someone starts beating one of these people to death. Why does a debate team have a aluminum bat on the bus? I don't know.
That's it, bro. Good job, man. You okay? Dude, you okay, man?
Look, ew.
Okay, don't say ew. I've already discussed how everyone with a healthy high fiber diet should have a little bit of anal mucus secretion. And sorry we can't always prevent occasional leaks, but here's a tip. Just visit your local wine bar and see if you can take any discarded corks off their hand. Then you can upcycle those to be your own secret little stopper. Shh. I've lost control of the words in my mouth. I need to eat some of these razor blades. The military girl really shows her ass in this one.
Oh, Dad, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry.
Really? Miss US Army just aimed her gun into a crowd of people and fired because a suitcase got thrown and landed sort of near her. They start pulling out the fire extinguishers, which, you know, in anything where there's an invisible creature is a device used to like reveal the silhouette of the thing. But we never get that in this movie. They're literally just spraying fire extinguishers for no reason. It seems to hurt the creatures in some way because they're like, ow, ow, we hate it, ow. But what really bugs me is the time code. All throughout this movie, they've been adding day 3, 1 a.m., day 3, 2 p.m. And now they add that every 2 minutes. Like right now, it says 3:26 a.m. And then the next scene is 3:45. So just 19 minutes later, where we get the weepiest phone call ever recorded to film.
Please pick up. We're being attacked. Please pick up.
Girl, do you really think they're screening your calls on an old-timey answering machine? You know they can't hear you begging in real time while you record a voicemail. So this sort of feels like you just wasted a call that could have gone to 911, where they have 24/7 people answering. If the debate topic of emergency preparedness or gun control ever comes up, these two girls need to shut their f***ing mouths, because they don't clearly know all about it. Listen to how much, like I cut out a few words, but this is how crying she is, like for minutes. Did it sound like she got through, my love? She was weeping, begging for someone to answer and recording her last will and testament, so I don't think her mom was on the other end rallying a search party. So the next scene takes place 10 minutes later. Again, don't even put time codes if everything is just moments apart.
AC, you awake? Yeah. What's worse? The silence or the noise?
For me, it's the general runtime. Like, this movie has a lot of silence and a lot of noise, but both seem equally meaningless. So while I appreciate your existential question, I'm gonna need you to climb out of that bus window and sacrifice yourself to these semen demons so we can get this whole thing on the road. Note to self, add semen demon to my list of possible back tattoos. Again, we're trying our best, we're trying our darndest to make this like we're learning stuff while we sit around in the dark. But again, everything is minutes apart. They're trying to get real, they're waxing poetic.
Does anything really matter anymore? It's a long way from yesterday.
Oh my God, we get it, Julianne Jorgensen. You won a regional theater award for performing a monologue from The Crucible. But I'm about to force you out into the wilderness if you don't stop searching for meaning while my falls off from these zero padding bus seats. Okay, this next thing happens 6 minutes later at 4:01. Real roller coaster here in the final hours. We've entered a series of tableaus that feel very reminiscent of a black box theater performance, which basically just means it feels too emotionally intense and intimate for me to enjoy my Sour Patch Kids without guilt. I think nerds are okay though. Oh, I love your play. Encore. 8 minutes later, they go back to the fire extinguisher.
Coming to the back! Grab the extinguisher!
This might sound rude to say, but I actually feel safer now that G.I. Jane has been gently lifted through that front window. Since so far the only gunshot wounds she's inflicted have been on other students. Like, we get it, this is an American school, but what a tone-deaf way to remind us. 4 minutes later, this happens.
It's not over. I just wish things would have been different. You guys are the only real familia I've ever had. Lo voy a extrañar mucho.
Why are you saying that directly to Shane, the documentarian who you literally only met 5 days ago? Kill someone else. Kill someone else. Spread their blood on the walls. Dance on their bones. What? It's Halloween. I can say some scary stuff if I want to. I can have some farcical jack-o'-lantern pumpkin humor. Stab them in the face. Let the blood drip out. This takes place 2 minutes later. Again, the time sucks. Like, just put a time code on it and we can like subconsciously take it in.
You in pain, bro?
No, I was actually whimpering because the bloody hole in my leg feels so good. In fact, why don't you finger it a couple knuckles deeper to see if you can get me to sing a high note? 4 minutes after that, like, come on. What is with the time passing? Nothing happens, and then 3 minutes later, nothing happens, and then 26 minutes later, something minor happens. I know how this is gonna sound, but I'm glad she's dead. Hear me out. She was super annoying. But also she was the only character who we sort of even had a chance to care about, since we know that the documentarian thought of her like a little sister for some reason. And the shot of her body being dragged into the woods is probably the most effectively creepy visual in the film. It's a sign of the kind of scares they could have accomplished with the same budget, but just better direction and probably casting and a much better story. They needed a better story. 12 minutes after that, Carlos starts going crazy. Like, why is there even a gun on a bus?
Always the alternate. None of you love me. None of you care about me.
Remember in state championship? We wouldn't have won without you, okay? We love you so much.
Okay, I mean, she's not speaking for all of us. I haven't really known you that long. This is all just a tease up to like, suddenly the door in the ceiling opens and Carlos gets sucked up. 11 minutes after that, I don't know what's going on anymore, officially.
Good luck. Hope you make it out of this because your baby definitely needs you guys.
Yeah, the baby needs them in order to be born because it's still in utero. It's literally so embarrassing that this person called themselves the child genius of the group. So yeah, they're planning on making a run for it in some way. So like the last two couples are saying their final goodbyes. I'm pretty sure this is hardcore pornography to certain heterosexual women. Shallow kissing on a dark shuttle bus on the way back to the hotel from Disneyland. I feel like these bland-ass couples heard the hum of that air conditioning and were like, oh, honey, it's our song. I don't know what happens. The two men run off the bus and instantly and almost imperceptibly get ripped off the bus and die. So it's like, they really just aren't even, like, this is just a mindless, not even slasher, because slashers have fun and creative kills. This is more just like people exit stage left and there's a strobe light as though we're doing a play of Into the Woods. But it only took 11 minutes after their partners died for both women to have a complete mental breakdown. So that's good.
Josh, we gotta go buy a stroller for the baby.
Aw, you know, I did not see the two of them getting together in the end, but I'm definitely here for it. They're gonna walk off into the woods and live their natural birth cottagecore fantasy. However, the movie doesn't end without any answers. We do check in one more time with woman who I don't give a f about.
Jack is missing. He went to the site yesterday and hasn't been seen since. For as long as I'm alive, I'll keep searching. Maybe I can find some answers.
And you can follow my journey via my new investigative podcast called Paranormal Bus, where we will discuss the bus and thus the lust within all of us. Oh, by the way, detective, about that niece of yours who was in a coma, there's sort of a sale going on at flowers.com right now. So I just wanted to check in and see if you had an update on whether it's a get well soon or deepest sympathy type of arrangement I should be looking for. Oh, you're recording a video while sobbing. Sorry, I'll just send you a virtual gift card. And that's all she wrote for Paranormal Highway. Jesus, I was not prepared for how long and treacherous taking you through this movie felt. I also think that eating all of this candy throughout gave me a headache. So there's that. What kind of candy do you want me to throw up? Seriously, what do you guys think about these seemingly zero effort movies? Do you feel like the filmmakers are trying and they just have zero clue about how to make it look good? Or do you feel like they're kind of doing it as a joke? Ooh, also if you've been involved in making any projects like this, I would love to see them. And maybe I can start doing clip breakdowns on the student and independent work that you submit to me. Let me know in the comments below, but also don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more Halloween content from me this week. Also, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on notifications and you'll always be the first to know when I'm trick-or-treating with the bowl of razor blades and candy. Also, I've got merch available and a Patreon where you can access exclusive episodes and bonus virtual watch parties. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you for with me today. I will see you next time.